everyone. It's Justin Harris. Just here with my friend Cristina. Happens to be a very intellectual person and very spiritually minded with the way just people in general, they feel, the way they think. We're recording here at the gym right now. I felt like this was a great opportunity for people to jump in the middle of my video in the background and look at themselves on the camera.
Yeah.
But Cristina, tell me something about you.
Well, I'm 24 years old, and I am a relationship consultant, and I specialize, with relationships, sex therapy, and I do a lot of self-help work that bleeds into relationships and dating. But also, I'm an empowerment coach, and I see people, often, and I basically help them, self-help. Like I said, it bleeds into everything in life.
You said you're 24 years old, so you're pretty young.
I'm a baby.
So would you consider yourself the Millennial generation?
Well, I would, yes.
Would you say that you are consistent with that type of person?
No.
Your behavior and your characteristics?
I think that just I'm born in that time, and that's in a social aspect, what I'm used to, but I'm definitely, as far as a thinker, absolutely not.
Yeah. I would say the same thing because there's a lot of things happening. Like one of the parents that comes in here and they bring kids, they were talking about how they coach this league that's for the city, right?
Uh-huh.
And the league is pretty much like where the kids, they don't have to try out, they get to be on the team, and every kid gets a chance to play in the games, that kind of thing. It's kind of like the introductory level, really young kids kind of thing, like not quite at the point where it's a competition yet.
I think that's a good thing, though. I mean, at least from what you've just told me right now, so thus far.
However,
okay.
So she brings up one particular night, I think it was, and the kids have their soccer match, right? Mm-hmm. And she explains to me how one of the parents comes up to her and is like, "Why aren't you playing my son?" And she was like, well, if your son showed up to practice and actually came to some of the games, not just every other game or so, then I would have a reason to play him. However, the other kids all come, they're showing up, they give their effort, and therefore it's only fair for them to play.
Yeah.
Well, this parent didn't think so. And she's like, I know the rules. Every child has to play. You're going to let my kid play.
Isn't that from what you told me, is that the basis of the whole thing, though? Like, any kid can come and it's not a big deal kind of thing?
Yeah, but then at what point is it wrong and at what point is it right? Is it right for that parent to go up there and stand up for the child that's not showing the same effort as the rest of the children?
No, it's not. But, I think as a parent, you get a little bit animalistic in a sense. You protect your child. You want your child to be included, because I don't think a kid knows how to make those decisions, as in okay, I get it, I didn't come all these times and I'm going to start coming.
So that parent is standing up for their child. However, that parent is the cause as to why that child is not coming to practice.
Right, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, it's their fault kind of thing,
I think that a large part of why millennial people that are titled right now is greatly affected by parenting.
Yeah.
And the parents, they are in this mind frame that they have, I'm going to give the best to my child. My child's going to have everything they want before the child actually earns it. I have another example. Is a buddy of mine. He's an elementary school teacher. I think he's in 4th grade as well. I say as well. The conversation we had before was about 4th grade. There's a child in that class who is in between homes. I guess mom and dad are split up.
Right.
And he's going through some hard times. Sometimes he's at dad's house. Sometimes he's at grandma's house. Okay. Sometimes he's at mom's house. He had homework. So when he got his homework, he didn't complete it on Monday when he came to class. The teacher understood that, him being the teacher, a friend of mine. He understood that, and he allowed the child to complete it one extra day.
Right.
Well, so one of the other students goes home and tells mommy. Mom comes in and complains to the teacher and says, how dare you? All these other kids have to turn their work in on time. Why can't he turn his on time? That is not fair. How do you feel about that?
I mean, that's circumstantial to me. I mean, and I feel like anyone with compassion would kind of understand that. It's like, okay, you have no excuse. Kind of, this child who has no means to fend for themselves because they're not independent. They don't have a car. They don't, those things like that are circumstantial. Absolutely.
I'm seeing that a lot now, where it's like people aren't taking accountability for their actions. And I feel like that's a huge issue with people nowadays. Is people they don't have the honor that they should have in things. They're not accountable for their own actions, and they're not earning what they should earn, as opposed to being given things. Like, for instance, the kids that I mentioned with the soccer, they all get a trophy at the end of the year. Now, a part of us growing and learning is no different, and this is why I kind of like that we're in a gym having this meeting. In order to get stronger, you have to put your body through pain. You have to push yourself outside of a certain normal activity to excel, to make your body grow. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing with the mind. If you don't study and you don't put yourself through that time, through that pressure, like developing a diamond is developed through pressure, and then it becomes something beautiful. Well, it's the same thing with the mind. It's the same thing with diamonds, in a sense, with the body, is that you have to experience hard times. You have to, in order to appreciate what's next, you have to know what it's like to go through the work.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is happening less and less now, because people are just giving. And there's nothing wrong with giving some things, but giving too much becomes a situation where now it's like
enabling, and
you're enabling,
and you're also losing feeling when it comes to certain things. Like, it's like, that feeling of like, I worked so hard for this, or like this hurt me, or this makes me feel joy, or like you lose that feeling when it comes to those things too as well.
Exactly.
But I mean, just in a personal sense, like I grew up very fortunate. I mean, I wasn't driving like a Beamer all my life or anything like that, but I definitely was fortunate, and I was, very, very gracious for that. I worked since I was 15, and my parents, they are the American dream in the sense where they both came from foreign countries, and they were nothing and worked their way up to something, and had 3 children, and were able to put all of us through college and whatnot, and I'm so fortunate for that.
That's awesome.
But with that being said, it's like they never got me anything or did anything unless I brought home straight A's, kind of thing like that. And I didn't have attitude, because really there's no point for us to not be like that. It's like, I don't have to struggle for food, or I didn't have to work when I was 15. I didn't need to do any of that stuff. But so that's why, like, okay, if I take off all that pressure of you because I busted my ass in school and in my life to give you this, you better come home and bring me those A's.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I understand that totally. And like, was I perfect all the time? No. And did they give me stuff when I'm not saying when I shouldn't have deserved it? Yes. Yeah. Because I think, like, just as a parent, you kind of like, I think about it myself, like, God willing, one day, if I'm able to buy my kids cars, like, if I can buy them a Beamer, I want to buy them that Beamer, but it really does have to be earned. Like, you need to have straight A's and not give me lip at home, and just be a good kid and not do drugs and, be a decent person for society. So, it's my drive is different from my parents' drive. And do I think it's like less driven? Sometimes I do, which is why sometimes I like to surround myself with more practical, very driven people, because sometimes I can be a little impractical myself.
And kind of slack off, maybe, you feel.
Procrastination, I think, is my biggest thing.
Okay.
But also I work really well when I have time or when I have pressure. So it's like a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
But my drive comes from something different, and my drive is still very big, because I really do think in such a worldly sense. Like, anytime I work with someone, I don't put a cap on that session with someone. I think, like, okay, if something I said resonates with them, it helps them help themselves, and maybe they can help another and another and another. It's a ripple effect.
Right, of
so
course.
I do have like I don't put a limit on my drive or my intention. So, but there's absolutely, with the millennials, it's like you will see kids who will have, like I said, apps at 18 years old.
Right.
And they are
right.
bulldozing through it. I mean, my sister went to Spanish River and she just graduated like 2 years ago. Kids are fighting. They're so competitive to get to that top, but it's really this much of kids that are like that. Most of the other kids are like caring about the social stuff, and they like, you know, cheat on tests, and everyone's helping one another, and then like their parents help them to get into a college, and there is a lot of lack of accountability and like real passion or drive for things, you know. But then you have those kids who are so progressive and are like so ahead of their time kind of thing. So I see that all the time, even with dating. A lot of guys that I'll be dating are like, I want to start my own company, and I have to, and I'm going to do this and this and this, and it's like I see that often with guys. Is it a facade a lot of times? Yes, it is.
Well, yeah, some people that's
it's
the
a title
thing to talk about.
Yeah, the title.
Yeah, I'm in
yeah,
business.
yeah, exactly. That's a title kind of thing. But you know, it's like there is a hunger, but I don't think they really know what it takes to get to there.
Right.
You know, there's not a lot of like Steve Jobs or anything like that out there. So.
Far and wide. Well, that's, I mean, you covered some really valid points, and that's exactly what I felt about the way people are moving today is, you know, you have parents, you have new parents, you have young people that are forgetting what it's like to truly earn something. Like, I remember watching this one business seminar where the guy speaking brings up, you know, how many of us know how to build our own homes? How many of us know how, you know, we can even simplify it more than that. How many of us can actually cook any meal of the day, you know, without having to Google it, or actually have learned how to make things from scratch? You know, how many people actually nowadays go out and mow their own lawns or know how to grow a garden in their backyard to grow their own food? Like, these are things that our forefathers learned how to do, and if you didn't know how to do it, it was because your neighbor next door knew how to do it. You
Absolutely.
know, so people were bartering and trading, and nowadays it's become a service, and that service now is a way of making monetary gains.
Too, and also money, because then, you know, it's like, okay, well, you don't know how to plant a garden, but I'll
do it for you.
I'm a consultant, and I know how to do all this stuff, so you give me $200 an hour, and it's like, when we could be doing all this ourselves, because it's really, if you really put your mind to it, you can really do it cost efficiently.
Right.
You know, so like, yeah, that's totally true. I mean, I don't, some guys that I would go out with, they wanted to hang pictures up on their wall, and they're like, all right, I'll call someone for it.
Are you serious?
Picture on your goddamn wall.
Are you serious?
Yes. Things like that.
That's
and
great. No, you're actually,
and it's sad,
you're right.
because like
you're right.
and that's a good thing is when you brought about like the forefathers and stuff like that, is because I'm progressive, you know, and I'm modern, but I do believe in tradition, and I think that we do need to go back to certain things.
We're
just being a
missing
dating specialist and relationship consultant, I feel like the biggest thing that I want to do is how to teach women to be women again, and how to teach men to be men again.
Wow.
You know, more or less.
Wow.
Kind of thing,
No,
you
but
know?
that's huge.
Yeah.
That's exactly, you know,
Just a little bit.
Looking at today's people in general, and this isn't to bash anyone and who you may be.
Yeah.
Honestly, if, like, I don't go, and I'm not in clubs and stuff like that, but just seeing, you know, what I see on an occasional basis when I'm going and I have meetings, or I'm, you know, doing what I do, I just see such a change in the way people are carrying themselves now. You know, people praise everyone that's on the media now, and, you know, entertainers and stuff like that. There's this whole movement of things that's happening, and there's so much mixed signal and
much.
Like in the dating world now, I mean, are you seeing guys that are truly genuine, or are they just, the example I like to give is, you know, whenever you meet someone for the first time, they're holding up this picture of who they want you to believe they are.
Oh yeah, they're putting their best foot forward,
and then after a while of knowing them, their arms just start getting tired of holding up that picture. And then you start to see who they really are.
Yeah, that's why I do always tell people, you really don't know people until at least 6 months into whatever.
It takes a while.
Yeah.
See what their habits are.
At the least,
I like to tell people, I'm like, you know, look at how they handle a stressful situation in their life.
Yeah.
And how they handle that, whether they're childish or irrational, is how they're going to handle you.
Yeah.
If they're violent, any of those things, if they're patient, strategic, bring in common sense, evaluate a situation, that's a thinker.
Yeah.
That's a person you want.
Yeah,
that's a person you want to be like, okay, you know what?
I'll spend time with you.
Yeah, you're considerable.
Exactly.
Let's see where this goes.
Absolutely. No, I mean, for me, there's a lot of sociopathic energy out there now, in the sense that people are not caring about other people's time or feelings as much. And I get it. Like, we're all self-driven. Like, we all are, and you have to be. But, like, at some point, for me, it's not about, like, okay, you have to, baby everyone, and you need to be, like, perfect to everyone. But it's about upholding your own sense of character. I want someone to look at me at the end of the day and say, you know what? Even though it didn't work out, they were honest and they were a good person. I had a good time with them. That's it. And I don't think people think like that.
A true evaluation
of
character.
Term, you know? It's like, and again, like, sometimes things don't work out, and that's okay, but you just don't want anyone to have a bad thought about you. And not that their opinion matters, it's not going to affect your daily life, but it should just be something for yourself, and people don't care.
What do you say influences that? This character, this way that guys are becoming?
I think it's females too, I would like to say as well. I think it is social media, some of it. Because everything is about what's greener on the other side. You could have an awesome chick or an awesome guy, and then, like, you'll be like, well, this guy's kind of cute. And then you give them a little attention, and you think there's sparks there, and it takes away the attention from the person you're with. So that, like, taking away attention and the social media, jumping around and being fickle kind of thing, that I think is contributing to it. I just think it's lack of... I think it's emotional deficiency, and I think it does have to go back to the nature-nurture thing.
Absolutely.
Meaning, like, your parents, where you come from, and the environment you surround yourself with, and the people. If you're around a bunch of girls that just talk about money and wanting to be with guys with money, and, like, all the trends and everything that's trendy, and the clothes and your body and stuff like that, that's what you're going to be. You're going to be, like, superficial driven, and you're not going to be deep. You're not going to have depth.
That's right.
And that's all the things that you're going to search for and what you're going to attract. So, and that makes you just shallow, like I said, and sociopathic, because all you're thinking of is, like, the superficial gains. Like, oh, does this person, like, look good next to me? Are they, like, eye candy? Like, are they going to give me the shoes that I want, potentially? And, like, you know what I'm saying? Things like that. So it's like, and again, and I'm spiritual, or I have a spiritual mindset about things. I believe in practicality and spirituality. So that, to me, is the practical aspect, and the spiritual aspect is just things that you have to go through and you need to experience in this lifetime as well. And, you kind of chose those things more or less,
I agree. Well, we're going to go ahead and conclude here. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I
hope we can have more talks.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you.
And we'll try to take this a little further next time.